Good morning. I woke up this morning, and as I got up, I'm experiencing horrible cramping. And for men, let me tell you what kind of cramping would feel like. It's like not being able to poop for a couple weeks, when all that's backed up and it just, you can barely walk. Feels like there's, a drill going off in your lower body that's just kind of chopping everything up. It just hurts so fucking bad. And I'm pretty sure it has to do with the scorpion stung I got because my arm is still swollen and I have a lot of pain right now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus that pain, and I'm going to communicate outside this world of man, outside of it, and I'm going to send it out into the universe. And I'm going to send that pain out to all others outside this world so that they may know what pain and suffering that I have inside my body. The spirits have been showing me a lot about, like yesterday they showed me, what would happen if nuclear war broke out and missiles were going off all over the world. And, I guess they were trying to get a reaction. I just smiled. Because I don't want to be in this world, okay? I don't bring harm or anything to myself. But that doesn't mean I'm not ready to, lay down the flesh and, move past this world of being. And, I don't go out into the world of man for healing or for company or for relationships or anything like that, because I want what is past this way of being, this world, this I'm just ready to move past it. And then this morning they were showing me gamma rays, and I've seen them before, but from inside my head in a dream, a dream I had was I was just sitting there, and it was in a theater, and I was sitting around others. Every time I go into a theater or something like that and I sit down, I always, like, is this a moment that I'm going to go be released? Because it's like I was just sitting there, and this bright light, at first I was a little scared of it, but then everything just went happy. It just, I was released, and I was just so happy about it. And at that time I was going to a church, and I was trying to, explain, my dream, and the pastor didn't want to listen to it. He was not a spiritual advisor. He was just a religious nutcase. So I never did get much, from religion, because they hide from truth. They're too busy spouting religion. But this the spirit showed me the gamma rays, that come directly from the sun, and I was like, oh, that sounds so nice. Because it would, from what the spirit showed me, when I go, it's instantaneous. It's just like that, in a blink of an eye. And I've tried talking to other people about it too, and they don't want to hear it. Like, there's this one lady that I met in Arkansas, and she called herself the preacher lady, and I was like, I wonder what it feels like to be ripped from your skin. And she didn't want to discuss that. Nobody wants to discuss the death. They always want to talk about heaven, and but they don't want to talk about the process that leads to the spirit being free. And And I'm ready. I don't know why all others fear release from the flesh, but I don't. And the spirits have really tested me all over the place. Like, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to be saved. I don't want any of that. I just want to be released. Truly released. When it comes to the Tower of Babel, which is the internet and social media and all the babbling that goes on there, and what people seek to watch, they seek to watch perversion with their eyes, or they seek to, you know, be lustful either with, it could be the flesh, or it could be online shopping. It doesn't matter what your sin is or how you go about it, it's not gauged like that. And, I know, the spirits tell me, soon these things will pass. And I'm like, when? Let's go. I know it's happened before, and I'm ready to be released from it and to leave hell and death behind, which is this whole world. It doesn't matter. You know, this whole world can go off and, all life can be killed. And then it would start again, and it would get to the point where it is now. Again, or some other kind of life would develop, like the dinosaurs. All life has been in this world has been taken out over and over again because it's just the spirits covered in flesh, and what they do while they're covered in flesh is an abomination. So I don't want to be in this world because it would be a repeated. It doesn't matter if everything's wiped out. As long as the spirits, are in this world, they will do as they do. Everybody thinks that, they go to heaven as a spirit. And I'm like, no, you don't, because you are who you are outside of the flesh, too. You are who you are. Just because you die don't mean you automatically change into this, you know, into this heavenly spirit, or no, that you walk as you walk. Those that were, as they acted in the flesh, so will they be in death as a ghost. Some are spirits, some are ghosts. It just works differently like that. And there's this lie that, oh, they're in heaven. I'm like, no, they're not. You know why I know they're not in heaven? Because they sit there and I communicate with them. They think they're in a type of heaven, but it's not a heaven. It's like this made up world, like the internet world, like the fourth dimension, but it's like the fourth dimension. If you get on certain channels, they don't say certain words, they act a certain way. You look at their the fourth dimension and you think that there's no sin or whatever, but that's not the case. It's just hidden. It's all made up. The fourth dimension is made up, is the programming of man and their kind. It's programming. I don't know if it comes from certain beings, but it's programming for those in this world to try to teach them, or actually program them to walk a certain way. But you can program people to think a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way, but it's not in their heart. Just because they act a certain way when they're at a job or, church or whatever like that, that's not who they are behind closed doors. There's always the truth. The truth that is inside. They might hide it real well, but there's the truth. And I know because I can see past that facade. It's all a facade. This world is full of liars. They pretend to be something they're not, you know, to save face, you know, and then, but behind closed doors they're not, you know, because they're going after the lust of the world. They're all about the buying, selling, trading behind the number of the beast, which is a social security number, um, and then they think they're good because of their charities, or, you know, they're just their deeds or intentions. But behind closed doors, in their minds, you know, it's in your minds, it's in your heart. You can't hide darkness. And just because you go around putting on a show that you're programmed to put on doesn't make you anything good. And, you know, that's what I say to the watchers. They don't like me, you know. They give other people the green light for their fourth dimension, what they want other people to do. But I always get the red light because they don't want me to be seen. And I'm okay with that because I know their world is all going to come crashing down. And, you know, they think it's not because they think that they beat death. But what they've just been given is a long chain to build up this certain world so that way they can fall into it. That's it. They were given leniency just because of their bloodline and stuff, but it's not gonna last. They're hidden, you don't really see who they are. But they'll fall into this world because it's the underworld and they'll fall into it. And I despise them the most because they put themselves over me, and you know, they do have authority over this world right now and dominion, and they're always trying to put me down, saying that I need to speak a certain way or walk a certain way, or I'm never going to make it, you know, to the top. And I was like, I don't want to be at your top because that's a top of liars. You know, it's like the pyramids, and they're all over, and there's a reason why pyramids exist all over the world. You know, there's a reason why there's a story of a worldwide flood. You know, there would be um, other written history, except for it got lost, you know, when the world had the disasters before. And the only ones that came out of it were childlike. You know, they had childlike hearts, or their minds were childlike, and they didn't have any understanding of what the fuck was going on. You know, they said it was gods that came down to destroy them, or no, basically it was man and their kind destroy themselves. They manifest their own deaths by breaking law and going against their very foundation. And, you know, I stopped trying to save this world because it can't be saved, because it's sit there and has gone through this process over and over again. It's in a cycle, and once it gets to a certain point, all hell breaks loose again. And you know, this, and it's been like this before. If you check the pyramids, you know, if you look at the cities now, they look exactly alike. It's just some areas they have different characteristics, different design, because it's in a different area. And that's the way the pyramids are. They're all different, but they're still the same. Just like all the big cities of man and their kind, they're all different, but they're all the same. Like, you look and there's big buildings, and there's, you know, parks, and there's, you know, there, it's all happened before. And then all at once their population goes out. And that's just the truth of it. And, you know, and they know it's coming. That's why they've built these bunkers and stuff like that underground. But the spirit showed me that the way it's gonna, those are gonna go out, because you can't escape what you bring to you reap what you sow, no matter what. And I tell those out there, you know, if you're running from, you know, something you've done in your past or whatever, stop running. just take your medicine. And, that's why I don't understand why I keep on suffering in this world. I was like, what the fuck did I do to keep going in this world, and to keep uh, dealing with the things I deal with? Because I see truth in everywhere. And I was like, I face my truth. I am repentive, I'm humble, and, I know what karma is. I know what you reap, what you sow. And, and I still have the darkness that will, come against me. Like being stung by a stinging scorpion is not fun. And then they sit there and say that that's something I need. Why? If I don't want to be in the flesh, then why the fuck am I not can't why can't I just go? What the hell is up with it? So now I'm just kind of concentrating all of who I am, and I'm just sending it out there in waves to come across something of whatever's out there beyond this world. Just send it out, focus my pain and send it out so that way I can be released. Just be released. Released from pain, from suffering. They come to me all the time and they circle me and they're always telling me to, be at higher vibrations or be positive and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fake something. Or they say things don't happen because I have, negative attitude. And I was like, no, that's not true. Because those I see that are built up in this world are the most vicious, unkind, greedy, gluttonous, fornicating, cheating, no good. And I have yet to see anybody built up in this world that is anything good. Like the celebrities, they just put on a fucking show, but they're nothing good. It's all a facade. They wear a mask. It's all an act. And there's a reason why they got to be at the top of where they're at. I don't praise or worship anybody else's name because I know what they got to do to be at the top. In order to have in this world, in order to have your face out there, to be popular in this world, you have to be cutthroat. That's just the fucking truth of it. It don't matter what genre, religion, sports, celebrity, whatever you are, CEO, they got in that position for a reason. It's because they sold out their soul. And that's what I say. That's the truth of it, and I'm not gonna hide the truth or lie about it. And I can't pretend to, be something I'm not. I can't be a cheerleader to a game that I think is absolutely appalling in every way. And that's what I did. I walked away from the world around me because it is appalling to me, every single bit of it. That's why I don't sit there and participate in it at all. That's why I quit. I put off vanities. I still sit there and get up and brush my hair and put on clothes I like. But I put off vanities, and that means, like, when somebody calls me beautiful or this or that, I'm like, I don't want your compliments, because they sit there and say that to the same person, and a different person, they say it to all over. If it's not from the heart, it's just in vanities, to feed off my vanities to get closer to me. But I send out that pain. I send out that suffering. And I release it because it doesn't belong to me. You know, I don't deserve pain. I don't deserve suffering. You know, I choose to walk a different path than all others. And you know, I don't bring that pain and suffering to me because I don't walk in the system of the beast. You know, I go through doors that are open to me. I'll speak through windows that are open, but I only want to do it in goodness. And you know, every time the darkness comes, you know, to hurt me because I speak truth, then I send that out. You know, I send it out past this world. And eventually, the light is going to come destroy the darkness. And that's what I say to the darkness out there. I am not trying to save you. You are my enemy, so I call for the light. And I say to all out there, I call to the light. I am not your friend. I'm not here to save you. I am not this Jesus. I call to the light so it may come and do away with this world of man, and so that I may be released to go from the flesh, from being captive in this world. I don't want to be a part of the cycle, so I call to the light. And all should know that out there is that I am not your friend. I'm not here to be a teacher or preacher. If you don't walk as you should walk, and you know in your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body what is right, what is wrong, you will receive the death you call for. Mine will be quick and instantaneous because I don't sit there and go about trying to harm others. I ain't trying to rape others. All those men online that are sitting there, you know, trying to get, you know, a quick, you try to masturbate to me or try to go to a woman and take from her, that's rape. Because you have no love for her at all. And you do nothing for her. She's not in agreement to you. You know, just because those women were misled to be online and be sex, you know, to sit there and draw a lustful eye in because that's what they were taught to do, that doesn't make them the evil one. It just means that they've been misled by the world of man that brought them up in the first place. That has to do with their fathers. And if their fathers weren't any good, then that affects the whole, and I say all the fathers. Because all the fathers came from the same seeds. It might be, you know, different gods, but they came from the same seeds. So if one does something, then all do something because they're all in agreement with each other with their system of being. Now, if they stepped out of that system of being, you know, by heart, mind, body, spirit, then so will they be released from it too. But however, most people that I see that are, you know, on the streets or whatever, they're still part of the system of the beast because they're still, you know, getting a check. They're, you know, they want that money. They're all about money. That's the third eye. When it says that y'all will receive the mark of the beast, that's the third eye. That third eye, all it does is see money. And there's a reason why they want that money, and it's they want to get paid and laid, and they want to go buy, sell, or trade either in the flesh, in material possessions, you know, in things they put into their body, eating. Like, they don't eat for the right reasons. They eat in gluttony. I know y'all. And no, they don't want my voice out there because I speak the truth. And I know that the light is coming to eradicate the whole system of man and their kind. And I'm happy about it. I'm ecstatic. I'm a cheerleader. If I'm going to be a cheerleader, it's going to be to the light. And I know that billions are going to get their death. I know that the land is going to be struck down with devastation, and it's going to take out every man, woman, child, and all those beings of the world that act just like them, which is a majority. There's only a few that have stepped away. Only a few. It's a very few. And, you know, the spirits don't like me. They come against me all the time. They try to scratch, bite, they try to do away with me because they don't like my truth, you know. And I don't care. And there's no persuading me. Like, once I call to the light, I call to the light. And it means that I will lay down my flesh too. But that's okay, because that's fine. I'm willing to lay down my flesh. They call it a sacrifice, and I call it freedom. But they sit there and say that, I walk a certain line so that way I can be a sacrifice. A true sacrifice. A true sacrifice willingly gives up their flesh in order to receive the light. And, yes, it's a little bit scary. There's a little bit of fear, but I'm okay. To me, it's a choice, and I do have the choice. Others don't have a choice, but I have a choice, and I sit there and say, I am willing to step away from the flesh and to give all flesh up. Because a lot don't want to give the flesh up. They want to continue in that cycle. They're born again over and over again. That's a cycle of man and their kind. Y'all don't go to heaven. You're just reborn, into another life. And you forget the life you have. You leave it behind. Not because you want to, but because your body just can't handle it anymore. I am more than willing to give up the next way of being in the flesh. Like, I don't want it at all. I literally lay down all that is fleshly, all that is buying, selling, trading, all that is lustful. And, I say I hate my life. I love myself, but I hate my life. And it doesn't matter, because, they've come to talk to me and ask me, what do I want? They can give me riches, whatever, and I don't want that, because I don't want to be a part of their system at all. I don't want to be at top. I don't want to be at bottom. I don't want to be in the middle. There's nothing I want at all. So I say, I lay down my flesh and I call to the light. And I say, I am ready to move past this world of flesh and materialism. I'm just ready. This world offers me nothing, and I don't want to be a part of its system, because it's corrupt, it's sinful, it's perverted, it's disgusting in every way. To me, it doesn't matter where I go, it's all hell. The kingdoms in this world are all the princes of hell. Gluttony, greed, fornication, there's many. There's the main ones, and then there's all those branches that came off of them. And, I'm ready to go. I don't want to be one with this world. I don't want to be a part of its marriage supper. I want the light, and I'll lay down my flesh, and I'm ready to go. I am who I am, and I will always be who I am, but that doesn't mean I'll always be in the fucking flesh, and I don't want to be in the flesh. And I don't want to continue in the flesh. I don't want to go through another damn cycle. I don't want to be in the flesh. Because all the flesh does is hold me down to this world. I'm not going to be a ghost, because I am forever growing. I am who I am. The majority of these die in this world. They become a ghost, or there's, they might be a spirit, and then they'll just born again, and then they grow. I know the process of it. I know how this is going. I know the manipulation of it. It's a gross, perverse system. And then they sit there and try to tell me I'm Stardust. I'm like, no, I'm not Stardust. I am Wendy Dawn. I am who I am. I call to the light so that way I may be released. And when I'm released from the flesh, all will receive the light. They will. And all this will burn up. And, you know, they might call me evil or negative or whatever like that. And I'm like, you know what? It is not evil to sit there and speak against the system of man. It's not evil to speak against the father of all mankind, because the father of all mankind is nothing good. The creator of this world is nothing fucking good. Okay, at one time it was a beautiful garden, but I don't have, you know, all the truth to it. All I have is vagueness. So I can't sit there and go on and say, oh yeah, at one time this world was wonderful, because it might have not been. Who knows? All I know is I'm ready to release it all. I do release it all. I release all the pain, the suffering, and I send it out. I send it out because it does not belong to me. The only reason pain and suffering comes is because that it was sent to me. So I send it back to whence it fucking came. And yeah, I can do that. I'm starting to feel a little better, but still at the same time I'm like, ugh. But I send back whence it came to all, you know. They have made this world like a prison, and they have put themselves above me. They have. But it doesn't matter. Technology cannot prolong their life. They have gotten away with it for many, many moons. I think it's 10,000 years. Each 10,000 years is a cycle. So either way, they know that their time is short because 10,000 years comes. And they just know that every 10,000 years. It's every 10,000 years. And that's why they distorted the calendars, so that way they're trying to manipulate the truth of things. And their 10,000 years is up. And that's why they have all of mankind going to religion and praises and stuff like that, because they think if they get everybody on board to manifest a certain way of being, then that will make it truth, but it's not. You know, and a lot of people think that, you know, mankind, they think if they get in their political parties and they have like thousands or even millions on their side, that for some reason it makes it right. Nope. And you know, the message of the Antichrist, which is a Christian church, you know, they claim to be godlike because they claim the name of Jesus, you know, that they were told was the Son of God. They were told, you know, so, you know, they think that they're godlike because they claim a name, which is odd. You know, and I fell for that a little bit, and I prayed. And, you know, I met Jesus. I know who Jesus is. He's just a pawn. And all that claim a name of, you know, a son of God or God, and they're not obeying law, and they're not moving as a child of God, then they'll be struck down because they are a liar. I say I'm ready to lay down the flesh. I'm not trying to claim a name. I'm not trying to get fame. I'm not trying to, you know, ride a religion into heaven. I just say I lay down my flesh. I lay down my flesh. I lay down the lives I could have. That's a sacrifice. You know, in this world it is a sacrifice because they hold it as a dear thing to sit there and be in the flesh in the material world. I lay it down. And I am laying down, you know, my dreams of that perfect family, or to, you know, because they've shown me much of what I could have, and I'm like, no, because it's all a lie. It's all programming. So I lay down the flesh and all my dreams in the material world, and I say, I just want freedom. I want to walk away from it all. I don't want the flesh. And I lay it down so that way I may move forward past this world. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I know what my heart's desires are. And they're not of the material world. They're not of this world. No, my heart's desires